Infirmary Media.
A roof collapsed at a supermarket in France.
Soccer bopper, more fun than a pillow fight.
Everyone comes down to Video Rangers for all their video rental needs. They've got the biggest selection of movies anywhere, thousands of movies in stock, the hottest new releases, and classics you won't find anywhere else. Weekdays is rent 2, get 1 free, and kids under 12 receive free popcorn with any rental. Don't worry, adults, we didn't forget about you. Rent a film from behind the beads and receive a free bottle of lube. Compliments of Video Rangers Videotape Club. Visit your local Video Rangers today. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 82 of the Video Rangers Podcast. I'm Mike Ranger. Joining me today are 2/3 of the VHS Bandits Podcast, Dane Train and Topher Hansen. How's it going, guys?
Well, Dean Train over here.
Getting out with Dean and Travolta.
Oh man, thanks for coming on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us, man. You were on our show.
I was.
What a reunion this is.
I was. I unfortunately.
What movie did we watch? Oh, yeah, you made us watch Vice Academy. God damn it.
Yeah.
Why we ever decided to do another show is
You owe
beyond
us
me.
a continental
Vice Academy
breakfast.
will not be on any of our lists today. I hope we agree on that.
Oh,
No Vice Academies today?
no Vice
Not
Academy.
on my list.
So this is going to be the very first employee picks episode, and what that's going to be, basically the employee picks episodes will focus on renting 5 movies within a given genre. We will read the back of the box, share a few initial thoughts, and decide at the end if we were going to be kind and rewind. This week, the genre will be 80's sex comedies.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Mine are probably all in the 80s. One of them might be in the 90s. I don't know. I'm not employee of the month. I'm sorry. Okay, you can fire me at the end of this show if you don't like my picks.
But make sure to return your embroidered polo shirt and your name tag before you leave.
No, actually, at this store, we wear the vest.
Oh, this is a
With the
fancy.
confetti on it, yeah.
The Video Rangers store is
Oh.
fancier than the VHS Bandits video basement.
When I worked at Hollywood Video for like 2 months, there was the fear that I was going to have to wear those confetti vests that they had.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, they chose like a denim shirt, which was maybe worse, but
A denim shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Horrible.
Classy.
That's the Jay
Classy.
Leno look. That's all.
all right. Since you guys are the guest, I will make one of you make the initial inaugural pick.
Oh boy, Dane Train, this is your favorite genre, or
Okay.
one of your favorite genres.
You want me to
So
start?
are-
Okay.
I think so.
First of all, I just want to say real quick how hard this was, because obviously I'm such a huge fan of these cheeseball lousy movies, and trying to pick 5 was not easy. And secondly, just trying to classify,
Trying to think of 5 was not
Try-
easy for
well,
me.
trying to think of okay, because sometimes there's so many movies that kind of blur the line between what they are. And some of them are sex comedies, but they don't have any party hats or whatever. So I kind of had to think about it. But I think I got a good solid 5 that I think it's some really good staff picks to put on the shelves for the Video Ranger video store patrons. So I'm gonna start off right off the bat. Mike, I think you probably already have a pretty darn good idea what I'm going to be picking here. This is a movie that you and I both hold near and dear to our hearts. I find this to be hands down one of the best, if not the best, 80s sex comedy of all time.
You're not saving the best for last?
Nope. Go number 1. Go number 1.
Oh shit. Okay, I was
Number
gonna go
1.
shittiest to best, but
Oh, you can do that. We'll do
Okay.
the opposite. We'll flip it, all
Okay.
right? All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Number 1. Hamburger, the motion picture.
Oh, wonderful choice.
Wonderful, right? This is a media release. It still has the flap on the ass on the bottom.
Ooh, flap
It's
on
got
the
this
ass.
giant ass SP sticker right in the middle. I love this movie to death. I love the cover art. There's like a big hamburger with a typical 80s stuff where like people are like sticking out of the hamburger that are like having sex, and like ketchup and mustard is just going everywhere, and his panties and
typical
it's-
80s people having sex with hamburgers.
It's sex in a hamburger. That's what it is. Sex
Right,
in the
yeah,
hamburger. Yeah.
You'd see that every day.
Every day when you look at sex comedy on the staff pick shelf. I love this movie to death. It's about a guy who goes to a college that teaches you how to run a Buster Burger franchise of a burger joint. And it's his wacky, crazy antics as he's trying to go to school and pass school and be successful in his career while trying to avoid banging every single 80s babe that is in his way. This movie,
Trying to avoid banging people? I haven't seen this movie. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know
you were
it.
missing out.
I
Dude,
know.
It's phenomenal. So what happens is, you got to understand, this dude, he has the male body of the 80s, and every 80s babe wants a piece of his tush.
So like a Tom Selleck type of thing, maybe?
No,
or-
he's Mr. Wonderful and Just One of the Guys.
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah, so he's really good looking guy. The guy can't
Yeah.
wake up in the morning without getting laid.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
man, I wish I had that problem.
Yeah, and he keeps getting kicked out of every college he goes to because he's just sleeping with everybody.
Oh.
And his parents are like, it's in his his uncle's will or something that if he doesn't graduate college, he won't get his inheritance. So it's one of those things, but it's fucking excellent. It really
phenomenal.
is, man. The cover, everything about that one.
Yeah. Dick Butkus being like the main bad guy. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie is awesome. The party hats, everything. It's just awesome. I find this to be hands down like a quintessential, one of the best examples of a sex comedy that you can
Absolutely.
find. So if you can get a copy of this at the Video Rangers video store, go pick it up. Staff recommendation from me, numero uno.
Great pick.
Whoa.
That's a good one.
Whoa.
man.
Yeah.
Love that one. Okay, so Topher, you are up next.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going from shittiest to best. And so like you said, like I was like, there's a lot of comedies with like sex jokes in them, but I was like, what makes a sex comedy is, so this is probably why it's at the bottom of my list. I was like, sex comedies, the plot usually has to revolve around like sex as the driving force, like someone trying to lose their virginity or just trying to bang as many chicks as he can within a hour and a half time frame.
Because that's the formula of every single sex
yeah,
comedy
and
ever
like,
made.
does it have a cheese ball character? So
Oh,
a fat,
you gotta have the cheese ball.
a fat sloppy dunderhead guy, and is there a nerd in it? And so that being said, this is the least sex comedy, but it is still a sex comedy as far as I'm concerned. Up the Creek from 1984.
Another one with a great fucking cover, man.
I was very close
Yes.
to picking that one.
Great one.
Yeah,
Good
they're
choice.
riding the cover. They're riding a blow-up doll down a river, and the river it's a very lush forest environment. But in the movie, it's like a dirty ass swamp. It looks really bad, and it's like dusty. I don't know. So I don't own this one myself. I think Dane Train, do you own this?
Yeah, I have a
We
cup box
definitely
that I've
have-
had for like
yeah.
10 years. Movie is so good.
So, but
That's a good one.
According to IMDb, from Lars Skogan, who wrote this, Bob McCraw is in his 12th year of college, goofing his way through life. Bob the slacker, Erwin the alcoholic geek, Gonzer the human food disposal, and Max they're four losers. This he put an apostrophe where I didn't. It doesn't. I don't know. I feel like Lars is trying to grasp the English language, but maybe I'm just trying to grasp the English language. I don't know. The English language. 4 losers are forced and bribed to represent their university in an intercollegiate raft race. They make some friends like the lovely Heather Merriweather, but mostly enemies. Among others, a whole team of Marines, a preppy Ivy League, and they're all determined to win. So it's kind of like Cool Runnings, but a sex comedy. No one's Jamaican, and there's a raft race that these college. It's like the third act. If the third act of any camp movie was the entire movie, and they were trying to get fucked the entire time, It would be up the creek.
Oh, I totally agree. I'd say definitely one of the best things about just how he said like this, all these different stereotypes. Same thing with Hamburger the Motion Picture,
right?
And so many other good sex comedies is like you have a bunch of these like ridiculously like strict stereotypes that are all like buddies and they're all like in one place at one time and they all just kind of like work together. You know what I mean? You'll have like, you know, the guy who's the mime, the girl who's the nun, you know, just like Police Academy. You have all these characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a definite. You have to have, as we call him, Cheeseball, who is the fat guy. There always has to be a nerd. And like a goody two shoes girl, and then like a slutty girl, and then like the main character has to be trying to get laid 24/7.
That's a good one, man. I've always loved the cover on that one. That's one of the ones like going back to talking about like movies that kind of like teeter like a line. That's one where, you know, there's not really a whole lot of nudity in that one, if at all.
Right.
I don't remember.
Which is
there
why
being
it's at the
any
bottom
party hats whatsoever
of the
no,
list.
but the cover and the plot and everything would indicate like you're in for a good old fashioned 80s raunchy sex comedy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you don't quite get that, but the story's good enough to where, you know, that's entertaining enough. And I actually have one on my list that's kind of like that.
Okay, good. I'm not alone.
No, that's the problem. Listen, I was actually gonna pick a bunch of them that were like deceiving sex comedies, where like you would think that they would be, but
we should
they're
do a
not.
whole episode on deceiving sex comedies because there's so many.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm looking at one right now, and I won't go through every one of them, but The Joyous Sex is one that you think you're gonna get something, and it just totally doesn't deliver.
I'm thinking of one that I know that, Mike, you recently picked up, which may or may not be on your list today.
Yep, it's not on my list, but I know.
So should we talk about it real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right.
Are we talking about Separate Vacations, or are we talking about Off the Mark?
No, neither. Oh, Off the Mark is another perfect example of a
Computer
very,
beach party.
very deceiving one.
Yeah.
Another one is also Ninja Academy, which is still a really good movie. But anywho, I was talking about what the hell's it called? Fucking. You just picked it up over at Academy. Screwball Academy.
Screwball Academy, yes.
Did you watch that movie yet?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Don't watch it.
Oh God.
Don't watch it.
No, I have.
Yeah,
to.
dude. You got Colleen Camp in this, and I was like, yes, like I'm so excited to get this. I traded it with VHS Bloodbath. I'm like, this movie's gonna be so good. It's beyond deceiving.
Oh.
It's awful. It's beyond awful.
Mike, you
Beyond
don't have
awful.
good luck with movies that have the last word Academy in the title.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
well,
like,
yeah.
Usually when something like Academy is or
Screwball
or School is attached to the movie, you know you're
Or
in for like a
Balls.
You're
wacky
gonna see a
time.
couple party hats. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, you know, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. There's too many. I feel like there's way too many deceptive sex comedies out there. There's so many. Like another good example is Gorp. You guys seen Gorp? It's like a camp movie.
Yeah, that one's like I bought that. I paid a lot for the fucking Blu-ray too because
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be really cool. It's got like I thought it was gonna be more like Meatballs.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
know, Fran Dresch is in there. I'm like, this movie's gonna be
Yeah.
great. No,
Yeah,
no,
nope.
it's awful.
Yeah, it's very that one's like a leftover from the 70s. You know?
Oh,
it's got,
yeah,
it's got
total
that feel.
70s appeal. So, anywho, all right, Mike, it's your turn, dude. Number one.
All right, for my first pick, I went with a movie called Hollywood Hot Tubs from 1984. Now, I'd always heard about this movie. It's always on lists for top 100 sex comedies. So I decided to check this one out. And basically what it is, it's all hilarity breaks loose in this rousing and raucous tale of Hollywood hijinks and shenanery.
Shenanery?
Listen, the back of this box reads like you would be like a very intelligent person. Like the words that they fucking use do not fit the content that is in the movie. So basically what happens is this fucking guy, this guy and his friend are out to get laid, and like they get in some fucking trouble, and the only way they can get out of it is if they take a job with like his uncle fixing hot tubs. And they come up with this plan where if they break people's hot tubs, they'll get more fucking business. And it's it's perfect setting. It's like a couple guys working in Hollywood fixing hot tubs. What do you think's gonna happen? There's a couple moments. It's got a lot of that good old fashioned 80s like racial humor. It's got a great 80s arcade scene. It's an early 80s sex comedy, so you get the nudity and the raunchy humor. It's more extreme than what you get later in the decade when John Hughes gets more popular, and all of a sudden the nudity gets really stripped down.
Yeah.
So it's
thanks, John Hughes.
Yeah. Fuck you and your quality movies.
Why'd you have to put a plot in there? Come on.
Yeah. And you know what, man? This is like a fun one to check out, but it's not really the best that the era has to offer.
I've never heard of that one.
I'm dying to see it. I would love to see it.
You know what? Getting a copy of that one is really difficult. So I ended up getting mine off of, I don't know if any of you guys ever go to VHS PS, the website. You can get hard to find VHS stuff burnt on a DVD for you, so you can at least see it. And it comes with a pretty decent case and everything.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm glad I only paid $10 for that as opposed to whatever it goes for on VHS, $30 plus. Because that would have been one that hurt. Fuck, this isn't that good. And for some reason, I own the sequel on Laserdisc.
Oh, kooky.
Yeah, terrible choice. I haven't watched that one.
Well, I would love to see both one of these days.
Yeah, just to check them out. I mean, they're the second one is one of those early 90s sex comedies. So, you could tell it was written in the 80s, but the execution is not what it would have been had it been made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I always, me and T-Man have talked about this before, where, there's some movies that are made in the 80s, and then they make a sequel, and it feels distinctly 90s.
Yep. Right.
The difference between, Bill and Ted and Bill and Ted 2. Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those movies that you could tell are definitely written in the 80s, but they have so much of a 90s flair. And definitely movies with Dean Cameron at the time.
Exactly, man.
Dean perfect
Cameron.
examples.
Fucking Dean Cameron.
Fucking Rockula.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Nobody put that on here, did they?
No.
Okay, good.
That actually kind of does count. That's a deceptive sex comedy because the whole thing was about him being a virgin, right? Or something like that?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't quite deliver on what you expect by what.
Yeah.
But the title and the cover of Rockula would indicate that you're in for a good old-fashioned 80s ride.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you don't get that.
Nah.
That's a bad one. Good thing that's on Amazon Prime, so if you have that, you can save yourself some money.
Speaking of which, I just wanted to mention something real quick that you mentioned Amazon Prime. There's an insane amount of relatively hard to find stuff on Amazon Prime right now.
Absolutely.
And of course, I'm always a proponent of going out in the wild and trying to find your stuff cheap or trying to find it or trade for or where you got to kind of work for getting a rare tape. But if you can't afford that stuff or you don't have the means to do it, just if you can't do it, at least a lot of the stuff is out there, like Microwave Massacre and The Carpenter. There's an insane amount of stuff that is on Amazon Prime. So if you're out there and you have Amazon Prime, just search. There's a lot of stuff that's already for free out there. If you don't just want to collect it, but if you just want to see the stuff, at least you can watch it. So,
exactly. Yeah,
you know
there's
what I mean?
some good stuff on there. I mean, Savage Streets is on there.
Yeah. South Beach Academy is on there.
Yeah. Oh, South Beach Academy. Is that the one with Corey Feldman?
Yeah.
I have
think so, right?
Yeah, I've got a DVD of that that's double, it's like a double feature with fucking Rock and Roll High School Forever.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
me
that's a
and
good
T-Man
double feature.
bought that at a video store like 12 plus years ago. That movie's awful.
Yeah.
I have a fond liking of it for some reason. I just remember them like doing voodoo on the refrigerator or something.
Well, our good buddy John owns the tape now, so if we ever want to watch it, we could watch it through him. So.
I always like that one because it's got like the like the principal with the claw and
Yeah.
South Beach
I remember
Academy
it being
Dr. Vader.
ridiculous. I don't really remember it like in detail though.
They used to run that on Comedy Central all the time.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I saw it there a lot.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll High School forever and ever, and that's the soundtrack of the movie. No Ramones. That's it.
No, just Corey Feldman.
Just Corey Feldman.
That's all you need.
Corey's Angels.
Oh boy! All right. So is it
Dane.
back to me?
Yes.
Back
you're
to
up.
you.
Oh, all
Hot
right,
potato.
guys. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Number 2.
You're very familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with taking number 2s. We're gonna check out Loose Screws. Break it away.
Oh, that's your number
Oh,
two?
nice.
This is my number
choice.
2.
Number two?
I also think this is a perfect quintessential example of a 80s sex comedy, hands down to a T. This movie's about a bunch of guys who are the biggest dimwits in high school, and they have to go to stupid people summer school.
They're from
where-
Coxwell Academy.
Coxwell Academy. And they go there and they like make a pact like in every other fucking movie where they have to like score points when they score with babes. And this movie has got it all. You got the cheese ball. You got the guys who are like, the suave, kind of Rico Suave guys. You got like the nerdy film nerd who's always like videotaping chicks. You know what I mean? And the one thing is, what the hell's his name? There's a guy in this movie who ended up in the 90s being like a big action star. Brian Genesee. So he's like this, sex-crazed teenager in this movie. And later on in the 90s, he ended up making a ton of, like, straight-to-video action movies, which are fucking great. This movie's great. All the characters are great. The acting is, like, ultra cheesy. We're, like the principal, like, Mr. Hardwell or whatever. Like, all their names are, like
Hardbutt,
Dick
Mr.
Hardwell.
Hardbutt.
Or, yeah. And he's like, oh, well, I'd like to give you a new position.
He's always trying to like bang one of the
She's a French
students
teacher,
or
right?
The French teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're all trying to bang the French teacher,
Yeah.
including the principal.
It's always the French teacher.
And of course,
I get it. French class.
This movie is jam packed with party hats, left and right. The keyboard synth music.
The soundtrack's
is great.
awesome.
The theme song to this movie's awesome. I can't say anything better about this movie. I mean, it's so well done just as a sex comedy. I just can't talk more highly enough about how good this movie is. For all of you people who want to hear, we did an episode about this last summer. It's a big crazy story that involves going down to Cape Cod and going to a Blockbuster and renting this one night. If you guys
party
want to,
hats.
yeah, whoa, party hats. So if you guys want
party
to
hats.
check out that episode on our show sometime about the story of the worst vacation down the Cape ever.
Oh,
I love
yeah,
that
that's a
story, man.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I could just imagine like being somebody's parent too, and just like and you're saying that, and they're like, "Fuck you, kid."
I try to say the only good thing was watching this movie. That was the best part of the vacation was discovering Screwballs 2, Loose Screws.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Dane Train, Loose Screws was my number one employee's pick.
Oh, look at
Wow,
that.
crazy.
So we picked the same movie. I thought it was the best teen sex comedy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you pretty much said it all.
I'm shocked because I thought you were gonna pick School Spirit.
We'll get there.
Oh,
get there.
okay.
Don't-
I guess I spoke too soon.
Don't don't bust my nuts yet.
Oh, hey, okay, all right.
But yeah, Loose Screws is the perfect teen sex comedy. It has everything that a teen sex comedy has. So like it checks all the boxes that we talked about earlier and more. So if you're looking for like a nice Porky's ripoff type of thing, we could have said, like, I was debating, like, should I put Porky? Should I put Revenge of the Nerds in like good movies? Or at least like, acclaimed people. But I was like, no. People already know those movies.
You know what I'm not crazy about with Porky's? It takes place in the 50s. And there's actually quite a few sex comedies made in the 80s that took place in the 50s or even the 60s. And I'm not crazy about that. I want my 80s sex comedies based in the present time of the 80s.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Loose Screws has everything. Go listen to our episode on Loose Screws if you want to hear about the worst summer vacation ever.
The
from
worst
Dane Train,
summer down at Cape Cod.
and how Loose Screws was the only
That and watching scrambled
saving
porn.
grace. Loose Screws is scrambled porn. It's unscrambled porn. The Spice Network.
My copy of Loose Screws came from Video Mart Corp in Richmond, Virginia. 804-743-1099.
Give them a call, guys. See if they have another copy available.
Alrighty, so since we just kind of skipped you, T-Man, are we going back to you, Mike?
Yeah, I guess we can do that. That's
All
cool.
right, let's go.
All right. So my
Number 2.
and I should probably I don't think I mentioned it before. Like a lot of my list, people are gonna look at it like, why did you pick these? There are better movies out there. Well, I didn't want to pick anything that we may have already done, and
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to go for some of those and I was also trying to not pick anything you guys would pick. So I was like, let me go with like these movies that kind of are like, on the towards the bottom of the list. In terms of sex comedies.
Cool.
But I went with a movie from 1983 called Losing It, starring Tom Cruise and Shelley Long. You can,
Shelley Long.
You can cruise into hilarious adventure. Yeah. So,
does it say that on the box, or did you make that up?
No, yes, it's on the back of the box. I'm not that clever.
Oh, no.
But, just going back to what you were saying before about 80s movies taking place in like a 60s environment, and that's definitely one of what this is. And
perfect example.
And this is like a fun movie. In terms of 80s sex comedies, especially everything I've got on my list here, this is the one that's a little bit more on the classier end of it. Like, this is an actual polished kind of movie. Like, the story really is in the forefront, and the sex and wacky crazy shit is all in the back. And this is one of those 80s movies where, it's a group of friends who are just trying to get laid, and they go, there's no stop, it's no sleep till Brooklyn kind of thing, where it's either like get laid or bust. And in this one, Tom Cruise has everything to gain and a certain something to lose. When he crosses paths with Shelley Long in this rambunctious road trip comedy, a wild, irreverent, and totally out of control adventure, this high-octane excursion has laughs coming as fast as a Tijuana taxi.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I'm not even going to read the rest of this because
Probably because it takes place in Mexico, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, well, the whole movie is these Southern California kids, like, after school, they're going to go down to Tijuana and they're going to
get some Mexican whores.
Yeah, and they're going to get hookers and they're going to buy fucking fireworks and they're going to get Spanish Fly and all this other shit. And
I feel like I've seen this on like TV.
Oh, it was definitely on Comedy Central a lot in the 90s. It's, man, it's a decent little movie. Nudity is fairly light. In some spots, it might be a little long. This is a movie that was made to actually like go into a fucking theater. This isn't
right. It wasn't straight to video. It wasn't just to put let's paint a nice cover art and then hopefully people will rent it based on the box.
Yeah, I mean, and I love how on the box it says the last word about the first time. They really did back then, man, come up with like great ways to sell you the movie. All
on
the
box.
The
Definitely.
box sold you the movie, man.
I liked there's one part of the movie I liked where they go into like this like bar where like the whorehouse was upstairs.
Yep.
And you have this guy like playing the piano and he's like, "Don't you want to be in a gangbang?" Da 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 da. And like I just thought that was like the song was funny. He was funny.
Absolutely.
I like that part. You know?
Yeah, no, that part tells you like what you're actually in for, kind of like when you go to Tijuana. Like there's like no rules. Fucking, this is like an adult playland. And these kids are believing everything they've ever heard about it. I like it, in that bar scene you're talking about, like the one kid, like they're all misinformed, about sex. And this one guy's like, I hear if you scream at the top of your lungs when you're coming, like it feels even better, And it's just shit like that.
Oh,
and,
man.
like the little brother comes along and he's like a little fucking shyster. And he's like funding the whole trip, letting them borrow money and stuff.
They get into like some pretty serious shit in this movie.
Oh yeah,
too,
they
with,
get
like,
arrested
with the police and stuff. Yeah,
they get beat up. It's again, this is like a pretty tame sex comedy, but it's got enough to keep you interested. This is like something you probably sit down and watch instead of just sitting down and like jerking off, rewinding.
There's no particular
I don't know,
spots
Tom
on
Cruise
the
is
tape
in it.
where like the tracking's all fucked up.
Yeah,
'cause
this
somebody's
one
rewound
probably nobody really rewound much. You don't get to see Shelley Long naked or anything.
Yeah.
That comes into play with my next pick so much.
Nice.
Do you want to get into it?
Yeah, you want to?
If you're done with yours.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That just losing it's like a fun one.
So it just made me think of it because I legit just watched some of this movie, like going through my tapes and seeing what I had. So I was just watching it before we started recording, just to gear up. And my God, like I couldn't even play the beginning of this tape. It was just blank and I could hear the audio and I was like, what is wrong? Like my tracking's fine. It's like flickering from SP to like turning off and on. Whoa. And then when pictures up, it's Party Hat Central. I think this movie has the most titties in any of the teen sex comedies on my list for sure. Maybe any ever made. There are so many titties in this movie. And that movie is Senior Week.
Oh, I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it, dude? Dude,
No.
you watched it with me, you dingleberry.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We watched Senior Week?
This is, I am almost certain this is where we got the term cheeseball from.
Dude, I'm glad you said this because like I have a copy of Senior Week and I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. So you're about to sell me this movie.
Watch it. Watch this movie. It is fucking bananas ridiculous. Again, it's like Loose Screws except a little more mean-spirited. And I only say that because like the main character is like a jerk off and like not redeemable. You know what I mean? He's just kind of an asshole.
Kind of like the guy in Fast Food, right? Which is also a deceptive sex comedy.
Exactly.
Like the main character's just an asshole.
Yeah. Let me go on to IMDb and I have the tape, but I don't have the box, unfortunately.
What year is Senior Week? Because that's one where I look at the box where I feel like that's almost 1990.
1987.
87, I'm way off.
I need to write
You're
that
3
down
years
somewhere.
off. That's pretty close. So Senior Week, according to Anonymous from IMDb, Everett and his party-hungry buddies embark on an all-night road trip to the Florida beaches for a week of fun, sun, and beautiful women. Mayhem ensues when two jealous girlfriends show up unexpectedly, along with a psycho teacher who's hunting down Everett because he owes her an overdue term paper. So what that kind of gets it, but what this movie is about is that guy Everett, he's the douchebag. It's Senior Week, and what does that mean? It means school's already over, but in order to graduate, he needs to write one more paper. So this is like a week of vacation in between graduating and the graduation ceremony. You know what I mean?
Makes
it's like
no sense.
between. It doesn't make any sense. This school operates on a completely different level from any high school that I've ever heard of. But whatever. Let's go with it. And so this dude can't graduate until he turns in his last term paper. And he only gets this because he's like, this teacher, I don't know if it mentioned her name. I don't remember her name. But she's one of the best parts of the movie. She's in a fucking neck brace the entire movie for whatever reason, and she is so over the top. It is ridiculous. You just have to watch it, and a lot of the acting is over the top. It's got a cheese ball. I need to graduate because my mother's dying. So let me write one more paper. And she's like, okay, I'll let you write one more paper. And if you give it to me before senior week is over, then you can graduate.
That's the plot of the movie.
That's the plot of the movie.
Oh,
so,
that sounds so good.
So this fucking douchebag, he kidnaps the nerdy kid at school and takes him down to Florida with him so that the nerdy kid can write his paper for him. So he basically kidnaps this kid to get his paper done that he lied about his mother dying to get him out of
asshole.
Out of repeating senior year. But I mean, so it's got a cheese ball, it's got the nerdy kid. It's full of like fantasy sequences. So like when I said in the opening scene, it's like he's in class, but then he's like fantasizing about all the like hot girls in class, like taking their tops off, and like if there's a girl in this, you see her tits, except for maybe the teacher.
It's always the one that you want to see too. Damn it.
I think we lucked out on this case. But yeah, and it's just so goofy. Dane Train, I know you watched this movie with me.
I swear to God, it does not sound familiar whatsoever. I'm pretty positive I've never seen this.
As soon as you see like the first opening, like few minutes,
a blank tape, and then gets boobies.
Yes, as soon as those boobies pop in from the abyss of darkness, you'll recognize this movie immediately. I know you've seen it.
I'm going to see if I can get my hands on a copy and see if I can watch it sometime.
It is definitely worth it. It is a fun movie.
If we take your computer and put it up to your TV, I'll watch it that way.
Yeah, we should do an episode. I would do full on do a.
You want to do that?
Total,
all right, let's do that
whole
soon.
episode on this. Yeah.
All right, cool. Actually, you know what? Why don't we do that?
Actually,
Mike,
you got the DVD. You should come join
watch
us.
it with you, Mike.
Yeah, man. I've got a VHS laying around somewhere. Yeah, I'm somewhere over in that corner.
Yeah, you got a bunch of divots behind you in your video feed.
The VHS are on the other side.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, is it my turn again?
Yes,
that right?
It is. Yes,
oh,
it is.
Boy. Okay, here we go. So, Mike, this is one that you recently covered in your Summer of Smut series on the Video Rangers podcast. I also find this to be another quintessential 80s sex comedy. I remember the first time I ever saw this movie, I was like, I don't know. But and then I've seen it 2 other times, and I'm like, I love this movie. It's phenomenal. I think everybody should see this movie. It is Hard Bodies.
Oh, that is your hardcore 80s sex comedy. You get so many boobs in that movie.
Yeah.
What you don't get in that movie, which is surprising, is there's no bush.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no bush in that movie, but yeah, that's a
Where's
good
the
one.
bush?
My copy, it's an RCA Columbia home video, and the side flap opens up, so it's all concealed on all 4 sides except for like a side flap that you open up. It stars the guy who's the lead in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes, it does.
Ooh.
And he's another stud of the 80s, right? And he's always getting babes left and right. But how does he get babes? He dialogues them, which means he lies and deceits them into.
So it's another asshole main character.
Another asshole, right? But you find out he's not as much of an asshole of some of the other people that he's training to be assholes. Because there's like these old guys who are like wicked old, but they want to bang teenagers. And they're like, hey, man, you're obviously a teenager's age. Teach us these 65-year-old guys to fuck young girls on the beach.
Gross.
So he goes, all right, how about this? We'll make a little deal, and I'll live in your, let me live in your house and this and that, and I'll teach you guys how to bang young chicks. So the whole movie is like nothing but like a montage of these guys trying to get chicks, and like they slap them or they, whatever. And, they try to have parties at the house and this and that. And these are like old guys who like all own businesses. They have a ton of money. And like, if they have a ton of money, why don't you just like, I don't know,
exactly.
get hookers or whatever.
Exactly.
Why don't they go down to Tijuana?
Their money alone should be getting them laid. It makes
right.
Yeah, the movie is a little ridiculous.
Which is crazy because one of the chicks even says, "Hey, I'll pay me and I'll do it," and he goes, "I don't pay for sex."
money.
I'm like, dude, you're probably like a millionaire, you know. But
that guy was the worst. I hated that character.
It was a morality issue, Dane.
Hey, you want to come down to my place? We got a jacuzzi rooski, you know.
Bumpa. I fucking hate that great Brady looking motherfucker.
He was the worst of the three. Actually, one of them ended up being a good guy at the end. But
yeah, I do like the bald guy, the cowboy. He's cool.
But in any case, so yeah, like you said, an insane amount of party hats. It takes place on a beach. There's some stereotypes in this. Of course, another movie where they say of the 80s in the movie, which is something I love to hear. Which is something that you heard all throughout the 90s, and then somehow in the new millennium, everybody stopped saying, "Oh, this is the something of the 2000s." Nobody says that. Everybody said up to the 90s.
I think they don't do it anymore because now you're kind of dating the movie when you do that. When you say that, like when you say like, "Hey, this is the body of the 80s," or "Hey, it's the 80s, we do this," or "Hey, it's the 90s," Yeah.
At the time, it was so new and topical.
Yeah, I don't think they were concerned with longevity at that point.
Yeah,
but it's like when you see it old, even like a movie from 2006, and you see like a flip phone in it. You're like, oh, this isn't that long ago, but it's still, wow.
Yeah,
how far we've come.
Yeah, certainly dates it.
This is the body of the new millennium.
So, I love the cover with this like bikini clad body with the suntan lotion saying the letters. The theme song in this movie is phenomenal.
Yes,
it's
it is.
crazy, crazy good. I could listen to it all day.
Sing us the hook.
Hard bodies breaking away. And then it says like check out those girls out on the beach. How can you leave them alone? something. They're they're suntanning themselves in parts unknown.
Turn Kenny Loggins.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh man,
that's a good one, man. That's definitely one you'll rent and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of it to me is like the theme songs to these movies are also something that's just like a gem. Like even with Loose Screws and Hamburger, like all these movies have songs that like I could be driving to work and I'm like whistling them on my like in my head.
Hamburgers, got a great theme song. Has a couple actually really good musical numbers in that fucking movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Hamburger is an underrated fucking movie. That's one that deserves like a fucking a modern release. Like Shout Factory
like
really
Blu-ray,
should get on that.
Big time.
And I want like special features on it. I want to know the ins and outs of fucking Hamburger the motion picture.
I feel like that's a movie that should have been on Comedy Central a lot back in the day. Like I think they easily probably could have censored that movie enough.
Yeah.
And they never did. I really think that a lot more people would today have appreciated that movie if it had been on Comedy Central as much as Meatballs 2. Anywho, Hard Bodies. Don't watch Hard Bodies 2. Hard Bodies 2 is not on my recommended list.
No, Hard Bodies 2 is so bad.
I don't think that there are any party hats in that movie. Or the party hats are the ones that you don't want to see. Like the one chick that you do want to see, you don't get to see.
Yeah. Don't you hate when that happens? That actually happens in my next movie.
Oh, let's get into it.
One of those movies where the chick you want to see, you don't get. All right,
like the French teacher. Goddamn.
Fucking French teacher. All right, so my next pick is Stewardess School from 1986.
I've been dying to see this movie for ages.
Stewardess School has a great cover. The cover of Stewardess School alone would get you to rent that movie because you feel like you're going to be in for like a police academy type romp.
Yeah.
Because that type of movie was huge in the fucking 80s. Everybody was like going to school or going to college or going to fucking some academy.
And I like how it's stewardess school, and I'm assuming a stewardess for an airplane, but she's on a motorcycle on the cover.
Yeah, well, actually, the character that's on the cover, her character in the movie is that she's a hooker, and this is kind of like her last chance. Like they really do set it up kind of like the police academy, where you get a bunch of different personalities of like kind of like slackers that like meet all up in one place, and they're gonna be a wacky team,
Yeah.
But this one is Get Set for loads of good plain fun when 9 hot-to-trot students try to get serious about their careers and enroll in stewardess school. There's Sugar, a former lady of the night, Kelly, a cute but klutzy musician, George, a real party animal, Philo, an ex-pilot who took a crash course in aviation, and a whole crew of curvaceous beauties. As training gets underway, so do sizzling co-ed showers, wild parties, and a lot of horsing around. With or without flying colors, everyone graduates only to wind up at a flaky Stromboli Airlines.
Stromboli Airlines.
That's the best description
Dude,
ever.
And that's why you
my
read the
God.
back of the box, man. Because,
That's great.
You know, man, if the cover doesn't sell you, a fucking line like that in the description certainly
Oh,
fucking
man.
will.
Yeah.
That's great.
If
know?
I was at the video store and it was between that and any other movie,
Vice
but
Academy.
this has Stromboli Airlines written on the back of the box, I am renting that movie.
You could. That's great. I bet you like Stromboli Airlines. You got to think to yourself like, oh yeah, it's a small plane. It must be really stuffed in there. But yeah, this is like a police academy inspired film. It has all the elements of typical 80s sex comedy. You get decent nudity, a wacky group of misfits, and a Happy Days cast member looking to break into film.
Oh man,
hey.
Yeah,
which
because you get
one?
Ralph the Mouth is in that movie, and it's,
Oh,
Shit.
and
shit.
yeah, and he's, this one is, again, nothing on my list is gonna be a top tier sex comedy. I wanted to like try to avoid picking anything that you guys would have picked. Or
What do you think? Let me just ask you, what is a top tier sex comedy in your eyes?
well, I think of Revenge of the Nerds.
okay,
Cool.
yeah.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right,
These are
right.
movies that work on other levels aside from just being a sex comedy. A Porky's, something like that. And like I feel like you've got those A-listers, and then you've got like something like where it's just really quality, like a fucking Hamburger the Motion Picture or a Hot Dog the Movie. And then you've got like something like Seward to
The
School,
rest of 'em.
which is
Yeah.
kind of like a C-list movie. Or even, to some degree, like Loose Screws. Like Loose Screws is a really like a good sex comedy, but it's not one that most people are gonna know.
Yeah, but I mean that's like all that it is. Like
Yeah.
you said, it is just a straight up sex comedy.
Exactly.
Whereas those other movies do have other elements where there's other plots that don't
There's
involve
other
just
things that you'll
getting
watch
laid.
it for other reasons, kind of. Like
Sure.
Zapped. Like you don't watch Zapped strictly for the nudity because it's not a whole lot of that in there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's watching him move his stupid eyes around, and all of a sudden things are floating.
I came this close to having Zapped again on my top 5 list.
You know who
I
did put
almost put
Zapped
it on-
again on their top 5 list?
look at that.
I did. I put Zapped again on my top 5 list.
Yes! Yes! It's so
Oh.
good!
I almost picked that.
Oh!
I almost did that.
Oh, man. It could have been a
Not-
triple threat.
Not Zapped, but Zapped again.
Oh, well, why don't you talk about it?
Screw Scott Baio.
Yeah, this one has I don't know how many party hats are in it, if any, but there's a lot more. I feel like there's a lot more skirts flying up and bras coming off than in the first Zapped. Like that's how they sold Zapped, but it didn't really quite make it into the movie. But Zapped again, they I feel like they actually deliver on more goofy, crazy shit. So on the back of the box, we have Zapped again. Since Kevin drank a telekinetic cocktail, every student body is up for grabs.
Whoa.
Yeah. Morality has hit a new low at Emerson High. Kevin Matthews, the new kid in town, has stumbled onto a secret potion that gives him the telekinetic power to move mountains. But since there aren't any mountains close by, Kevin uses his magical skills to raise skirts, remove blouses, and wage war on the arrogant jocks who rule the school. It all blends together to make Zapped Again the perfectly hilarious sequel to Zapped. Rated R, color 93 minutes.
It is the perfect sequel. In fact, it's one of those rare sequels that's better than the first.
Yeah, if Zapped was Alien, this is Aliens, and it's like over the top, crazier.
Yeah, I just love the fact that one of the bad guys from Ernest Goes to Camp is in this movie, and he's a bad guy in it again. You know, I don't remember what the hell his name is. I think he was like a wrestler or a boxer or something.
Oh,
like
is
that.
it? What's his name? Like
He's got a goofy name.
Lyle Laz.
Yeah, that's him. Yep,
This
he's
guy?
awesome. That guy, yeah, he's awesome.
Guy's fucking scary, man.
Yeah. Well, like, dude, in Ernest Goes to Camp, and he's like, get out of here now, to those people in the house. Like,
Yeah.
that's scary.
I honestly don't remember too much about it, other than I remember liking it a lot more than the original movie.
Yeah, Linda Blair's.
I mean,
got
I
a
have it.
cameo
I
in
should just watch it. Yeah, Linda Blair's in it.
Yep.
But I mean, it's what makes this movie great is that it does deliver on what Zapped doesn't deliver, and it's just that much more ridiculous. And it's got that not many teen sex comedies have. Like, it's got the weird science element to it where there's like almost this science fiction aspect where he drinks this fucking telekinetic crazy juice and then he can all of a sudden take off girls' bras and shit. So why not? So it's got that tinge of goofiness, just makes it that much better. And I love stuff like that, like out of this world wild shit.
Yeah. That's also one of those movies where the first one was made in the 80s and then Zapped Again. I think it might have been late 90s, but it has a very distinct early 90s feel, like with the clothes and stuff. I remember, I think the
year.
Yeah,
I think the head guy had like a bowl cut and stuff. You know what I mean?
the first time I saw Zapped Again was
1990.
yeah, I saw that on USA Up All Night. That was the first time. I
okay,
actually
that's a
saw,
good-
I think I saw Zapped Again before I actually saw the first Zapped. Yeah, that's happened to me on a couple movies. I saw Caddyshack 2 before I saw Caddyshack 1.
Oh man! Oh no!
Yeah.
And
Well,
somehow
then.
it convinced you to watch number one.
Well, I remember I saw Caddyshack 2 at such a young age, and I remember my dad trying to show me part 1, and I kept insisting that part 2 was better. Like, and then, like, I grew up, and I was like, okay, that's not true at all.
I just remember liking Caddyshack, the original Caddyshack, because like I didn't understand half of the movie,
No.
other than like the candy bar in the pool. I thought was the funniest thing,
Yeah,
and that's probably the only joke I understood. But
Yeah, the second one is definitely more approachable for kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
The laser grid putting
The golf
Yeah.
club
putter.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I don't know if I should go with the wacky one or the not so wacky one. Maybe I'll save the wacky one for the last one. So, all right.
How many have you done already?
I've done
Oh wait,
3.
no, I have one less because we both did loose screws.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's why.
All
I'm
right.
losing count.
All right. So this one was made in 1983. Definitely has that kind of late 70s, really early 80s appeal, where the late 70s kind of still bled into the early 80s. This movie has my big 80s crush in it. It is Private School for Girls.
Oh, solid choice.
This movie also, I think, is a great quintessential sex comedy where, first of all, numero uno thing to know about this movie is it stars Phoebe Cates.
It does.
Who is hands down probably the biggest crush of the 80s of every other
She's the crush of the 80s.
She's the crush of the 80s. That's right. And so she's got some other friends, and they're at this, like private school. They're all pulling pranks on the people that they don't like, and you see lots of party hats. You don't get to see
no Phoebe Cates.
No Phoebe Kate party hats, except like real quick when like she's on the beach and like some it's like a wet t-shirt contest kind of a thing. But but a lot of her, you do get to see a tush at the end of the movie. She and all of her buddies are mooning people and that, but you get to see basically all of her friends' party hats. Although you do get to see party hats of like some old lady, which I wasn't really crazy about. It's like some old teacher, and
yeah, you do.
Could have gone without that.
Yeah,
but like,
gym teacher.
Gym teacher, yeah.
Oh no, a gym teacher.
So private school is where kids leave parents behind and learn what growing up is really all about. It's a romantic comedy from the same people who brought you the hilarious Private Lessons, which I have yet to see.
Yeah, see, Private Lessons, not funny. Creepy.
No?
Creepy,
Oh,
and people should have went to fucking prison.
Oh no.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
So yeah, it's basically like the last little bit before they graduate from this private academy. There's also men there as well. One of them I don't know what his name is. He's a cheeseball character. I know I've seen him.
Michael Zork.
Yeah, he was in other sex comedies too at the time.
Yeah, actually, he's in my next choice.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a good lead-in.
Yeah. Lovely segue.
There we go. So private school for girls, or private school ... for girls, is awesome. Great party hats. Lots of like, again too, like another big part of these sex comedies are the pranks. People pulling pranks on other people, and which is a big part, and it's great. So again, another awesome watch. I think everybody should see. You got guys in drag, trying to sneak in to see the girls. You know what I mean? Like every other sex comedy. It's great. It's awesome stuff. You got to see it.
No, that's a good one and it's another one where it's a couple of friends trying to get fucking laid and about their experiences and like everything that's going wrong. And you got the wacky fucking over the top character. You've got the straight and narrow kind of really nice guy, but he does want to get laid and he's trying not to be a dick, but he's also got hormones. And you got the ultra nerdy character. That's a good one. I really like that movie. There's the one thing I love about that movie, and I actually think that it's one of the greatest things to ever happen in cinema, is the girls' gym class aerobicize scene.
Yeah.
Where they're doing they're stretching and everything, and you've got fucking American Girl playing over it.
Diamond in the rough. I feel like a lot of people don't think of that one.
No, you kind of forget about it. And that's one that I saw for the first time in 2001. It was a tape I bought at a garage sale in college. And I got it strictly for the cover, like, oh, I got to see this,
Yeah.
Man, and for the scene where she's riding the horse bareback.
Yeah.
Like, really, she's riding it bareback. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Alrighty.
All right.
Who's next?
All right, I guess it's my turn. So for my next pick, I went with a movie from 1984 called Hot Moves.
Ooh,
Yeah, Hot Moves. Here's another one that's always like on like that list of like 80s sex comedies that you kind of might want to own on VHS, and you pay like a little bit too much for it and see it, and you're like, why the fuck did I do that? They should put this on Prime to stop people from wasting money on it.
I had 2 copies of it, and I couldn't get rid of them fast enough.
Yeah, I've got a VHS copy of it, and I do have a bootleg DVD copy of it. But yeah, this is this one is where you're getting plenty of fucking nudity in it, but it's not. The rest of the movie doesn't really deliver. But this is a movie along with a movie like Hot Chili and Last American Virgin and Porky's. Like when you see American Pie, you'll see elements of this movie and a bunch of other 80s movies. Like whoever wrote American Pie did their fucking homework, because in a lot of ways American Pie is like, because like when the 80s ended and you got into the 90s, the sex comedy kind of dies.
Yeah.
And the teen comedy in a lot of ways dies, is like they start to become family friendly teen comedies. And then like movies like Road Trip and American Pie kind of like brought it back for a quick moment. But yeah, this is one where like the raunchiness and the sex and everything just isn't enough to make you want to watch it again. But yeah, it does have Michael Zorak from Private School.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so let's just see what the back of the box says. Michael, Scotty, Barry, and Joey are 4 high school juniors anxiously awaiting their annual summer break to take part in their favorite pastime, girl watching. This summer, yeah, right? This summer,
Titty Patrol.
this summer, they have decided to add a little excitement to an otherwise run-of-the-mill vacation. Together, they make a pact. Very important in the 80s. Got to make a pact.
Always.
To become men before the summer ends. Their only problem, finding a few free-spirited females to assist them. After several foiled attempts to score with the beach beauties, the boys discover the problem. It takes more than good looks or a good line to get a girl. It takes hot moves.
What are those moves? What moves are they? Is this a dance?
You gotta watch the
What are
movie
they
to find out
talking
the hot
about?
moves.
It also says on the box, to make it in this world, you gotta have hot moves.
Where else can they say the title without being the title on the cover?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a Vestron release. It's got fucking, a decent cover. It's got like a girl in a bikini with like 4 guys.
It's got a
beating.
nice 80s flat butt. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the butt of the 80s.
Oh, that is the quintessential butt of the 80s.
Yeah, this one, I wouldn't go out of your way or pay a lot of money to see this because it's not one of the better ones.
I'm with you on that one. Isn't that the one where like they stole one of the kids' dad's like super high powered telescopes so they could check out these topless chicks on a beach, and they're like hiding behind a rock, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm getting a real big hard on," like while they're snooping up on these chicks.
There's a lot of jokes like that. There's a lot. You know what? You could tell it's a shitty 80s movie when you're in one of like let's say a character's in like a room or something, and you can tell that the room has the wall or barrier behind the person is like a sheet. Or like those 80s movies where they're in a club and the club is like got sheets for walls, kind of, like
we
drapes.
see a lot of that.
Oh yeah. In action movies, it's trash bags instead of sheets.
Yep.
Yeah, like really low budget. This is not. Michael Zorach really took a step down between this and fucking Private School.
Funny you say that because I think he had one of the best lines in the movie where so he and his buddies hang out in the bowling alley, and there is a waitress who works the bowling alley who gives them like pop and pizza, right? So she comes up and she's like, "Is there anything else I can get you boys?" And he goes, I'll have one waitress, no dressing."
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you'll never hear stuff like that ever again.
Yeah.
So
They don't make stuff like this anymore, man.
no.
What's annoying now is people that like are trying to make these kind of movies, like the small independent, really low budget ones, but they're so low budget you can't get past it.
Yeah.
Like there's something about the 80s where even when they made low budget movies, like they didn't necessarily look that way. They got way more out of their money for some of these movies.
But even a low budget movie in the 80s is like a high budget movie now.
Yeah.
Just because of like the technology and all this, it just costs so much more to make a movie. So there had to be some real money behind it just to make it.
Exactly.
For if it was going to get any sort of release.
Exactly. And a lot of this stuff was made because like there were video stores and they had to fill the shelves. And a lot of these, I don't think people necessarily... I think a lot of things were made because they knew that if it didn't make their money in the theater, that it would make their money playing on TV or it would get rented.
Right.
Especially some of the sex comedies, because you just put like a half-naked girl on the cover, somebody's going to rent it enough times, they'll sell the copies. Like Vice Academy. Like, I couldn't believe the director said that movie was successful.
That's crazy.
I was like, wow, that movie sucks, man.
Yeah, and also it was like the rise and like beginning of like HBO and like pay channels and stuff that have to fill their slots
Cinemax.
and like they could exactly, they could get these movies, play them late at night. People could watch some not quite porn and jerk off. Yeah.
Maybe laugh a little bit.
There you
Maybe
go.
laugh,
Yeah, maybe slightly entertained.
but mostly jerk off. I got one left. So, how many? Do we all have one left, or
I
is
got
it?
one left.
I got one left myself.
All right.
Look at that, guys. We're
Oh,
doing great.
boy. All right, so let me recap, just for drama's sake. We had at number 5 for me, Up the Creek, and then number 4 was Senior Week, and then I already talked about Zapped Again. We already talked about Loose Screws, which was my actual number 1, but a close second. School Spirit.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God, School Spirit. It's so fucking. Again, this has, like I was talking about with the Zapped Again, it's got that weird, like, supernatural sci-fi twist to it where it's about a dead kid still trying to fuck people. Basically what this movie's about, and his like ghostly creepy uncle also trying to fuck the same teenage girls. Well, they're college age. At least we know they're at least 18 and over, unless they graduated early. I don't know. But yeah, School Spirit is just such a goofy fucking movie. This kid dies trying to fuck a girl. He can't get a condom, so he's like, wait here at the beginning of the movie, and like locks this girl in the like principal's office, the college principal's office, and then on the way to buy a condom at some sleazy truck stop, he gets hit by a truck and dies, and then he like can't go to the afterlife because he has his unfinished business of fucking this random girl. so he just spends his time trying to fuck this girl, and then some girl from France is like owns the college or something and is donating $1 million or something to the college, and it's got the dean of the college, and he's the like uptight asshole in the movie. I don't think there's a cheese ball.
No.
But it's got I don't know how many party hats are in it, but it's got enough sex and wacky hijinks are what put this one over the top for me.
There's like that crazy party called like the pig party.
Oh, the
or
hog.
something. The hogger.
Shit, the hog something.
Yeah.
Man, it's Hog Week. I don't know.
Hog-
I think is it Hog Week, Senior Week, Hog Week? I don't know.
One of the things I like about that movie is that everything that would come to your mind if you were in that situation happens. It's one of those movies where like, all right, if I'm going to be a sex crazed ghost, what am I going to do?
Which I've asked myself many a time.
Like, what am I going to do? Oh, obviously I'm going to go into the girls' shower or locker room, or I'm going to watch somebody change. Like kind of like in the Invisible Kid. Yeah. Same thing. It's just like I have this like huge responsibility power thing, and I'm just totally going to abuse the shit out of it.
I was going to use it to dump chili on this dweeb's jacket.
That's a really good
Chili
movie.
from a vending machine.
Yeah, the chili vending machine that also serves cold yogurt.
Yep. Oh man, yeah. I think, yeah, the uncle is like creepy though. He, like you said, there's like some people should be in jail. I mean, if you could arrest ghosts, this guy should get ghost busted. The creepy uncle is just like he's a molester for sure.
Oh, because he's fondling up that chick who's
Yeah,
sleeping.
well,
He's like, oh, hey, like the whole time.
Well, you know, a lot of 80s movies, they exist under the assumption that it's a boys will be boys. This is harmless, good fun. Like, realistically, the nerds from Revenge of the Nerds
Oh, yeah, they should be in prison, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're fucking installing cameras in people's fucking bathrooms. I mean, but that's one of the things that's great about this stuff is like, you know, they do look at it as, hey, like, this is just good. This is just fun. Like, don't take this too seriously.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, like,
It's definitely like a product. It's a product of the 80s.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
a product of its time that'll never be replicated again.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So, and you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, you know?
Yeah, it's really just a joke. Like, nobody's actually doing this. I mean, but these stupid little things are put in major movies. Fucking George McFly is a peeping Tom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that was the 50s.
Yeah.
Made in the 80s. So, all right. Do you want me to go or do you want to go, Mike?
Oh, you can go. You can go.
All right, here we go, guys. This is the wackiest one of the bunch. We'll do a quick little recap. My number one was Hamburger, the motion picture, where you get hamburgers for America. And we got number two is our Lightning video release, which is Loose Screws, Break It Away. And then we've got Hard Bodies, my number three. So you can dialogue those chicks with the BBDs. And my number four was Private School for Girls. Now, here we go, guys. This is a Phantom video release. Okay, when the hell did this come out? 1989. Okay,
Is it Fuck Sandwich?
no, it's not Fuck Sandwich.
Oh.
No, it's not No Bone Zone.
No Bone
4
Zone.
either. Actually, it says Paramount on the back too. All right, guys, this is one that you probably never would think to be a sex comedy whatsoever. But here we go. This is a sex comedy sci-fi romp extravaganza called Dr. Alien.
Oh my god.
This was
never heard of this.
oh man, this
Yeah,
movie.
you've been telling me about this for a while. I haven't seen it yet.
If any of you guys know Jason from Champion Video down in Houston, Texas, this is also one of his favorite movies of all time. So this movie is just bananas. I think I got this. I forgot where the hell I got this, but I got it based off of the cover alone. It says she has the cure for growing pains. So it's about a dude.
She's gonna suck your dick.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So
How did I know?
So you got this 80s babe who's like she's like she goes into be like a school like a professor at college, and she's with this dude who's kind of like a nerdy dude, and she puts him like under some weird alien trance, and she starts banging him, and whenever he gets like aroused or whatever, this weird little like alien little antenna starts popping out of his head with like an eyeball and it going and
Wait, so is he the alien or is she the alien?
she like turns him into some weird alien thing. So I'll read the back of the box real quick so you get a better understanding. It's really hard to explain. She puts up such a good front. No one suspects that the sexy new biology professor, Judy Landers of Armed and Dangerous and Fantasy Island, is really an alien scientist. She's experimenting on the nerdiest freshman on campus, Wesley, Billy Jacoby of Cujo and Beastmaster, who quickly becomes a hip sex magnet no girl can resist, especially Dr. Alien herself, who continues to pump her subject with more satisfying scientific results.
Sex juice.
Sex juice. Lucky Wesley, not since Weird Science has any young man been asked to make such deep sacrifices in the interest of research. Also starring Troy Donahue of Summer Place and Palm Springs Weekend. Which might be two other sex comedies we might have to talk about some other time that I've never heard of. But yeah, so that's basically what happens is Dr. Alien, this alien babe, starts banging this dude, and he starts like dressing all like cool and hip like Michael Jackson and like having like 80s frizzy hair and getting all like cool. And I honestly kind of forgot like what the end like result of like why she was doing it. I think she was gonna like eat him or something. I don't remember. But anywho, the movie is insanely good. I don't remember if there are party hats in this movie or not. I kind of don't think there are, but I might be totally wrong. I think Linnea Quigley is in. Yeah, I think Linnea Quigley is in here, and she definitely shows her boob. Yeah, there's a scene where the kid has a nightmare about Dr. Alien, and Linnea Quigley and two other chicks pop up showing off the party hats, and the movie's just bonkers. It's out of this world. That's the only way to put it. It's out of this world. So, Dr. Alien, again, there's a lot of like, trying to get laid, TNA, kind of kooky, wacky, college academy antics going on in here. And there's a lot of sci-fi kooky wackiness going on. Has a wicked, like, late 80s kind of new wave feel to it. It's wicked, ridiculously good. My copy, there used to be like a sticker that must have been like sci-fi on it, which has been ripped off, and it's insanely good. I can't talk more about this, but I'd say I mean, most people would probably never think of this as like a traditional sex comedy, but if you're looking for something different, definitely check this out because it's a lot of fun.
Actually, that reminds me, Dane Train, do you remember a movie? I probably should have put it on my list, but I don't know the title of it. I might be thinking of Zapped again. But there's a movie with like legitimate like sex juice, and like they put it in the burgers and stuff.
That was that was fast food.
That was fast food.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Putting, like,
Whereas
the Spanish fly in their fucking burgers. Yeah.
Like instead of Good Burger, where they inject stuff to make the burgers bigger, they inject stuff to get people horny.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Never mind.
More people that are going to prison.
Oh yeah. Of course.
I thought it was the alien thing threw me off. I was like, is this sex juice alien burgers also? I don't know.
Well, I think if I recall, she like takes a needle and injects it in his butt. That gives him the sex juice.
Sex juice in the butt.
So there you go, guys. Those are my top 5. Hamburger the Motion Picture, Loose Screws, Hard Bodies, Private School for Girls, and Dr. Alien. All 5 of these I highly recommend as my staff pick at the Video Rangers video store, and I would definitely rewind these any day.
All right. So I guess I'll go over my list. So first I had Hollywood Hot Tubs, followed that up with Losing It, Stewardess School, and Hot Moves. Nice. So now we're down to my final pick, and for this I chose a movie from 1987, and this is a movie that's actually been on your shows.
Oh boy.
Meatballs Part 3, Summer Job.
Yeah! No! Yes! It's so good. Rudy's rock hard salami dick.
This is the worst meatballs. No. I thought you were gonna say number 4, and I was gonna cheer.
Ah, man!
I love number 4. That was
Meatballs
a close call on my list, but oh man, why 3?
Why 3? Okay, so the reason I picked 3 was because first, it's really the only Meatballs sequel that has anything to do with the first movie.
Sure.
And after what you got in Part 2, which was a movie where like you kind of thought it was going to be a sex comedy, and which it kind of is, but you don't really get any nudity in that movie. That movie's like a big cock tease. As much as I love Part 2, I love like everything about it, how silly it is, but as far as a sex comedy, it's not really,
Well, even the first Meatballs isn't really.
No,
much
it's
of
not
a sex comedy.
It's not. The first one isn't a sex comedy, but that's really where the genre was like summer camp movies. Eventually, that's what they just became. They just became sex comedies. So the first movie, I like it because Bill Murray's got some really good stuff in there. The second movie I like because it's a little wacky, and the third movie I like because I like it when sequels are actually sequels.
Oh yeah,
but add ghosts of porn stars.
And this one's got some of that 80s charm. I mean, everybody's on a fucking jet ski.
Number 2 had the alien.
They were really steadfast with sticking to the canon of the first film. We got to get rid of the aliens. There was no aliens in the first one. Let's put in a ghost.
A porn star ghost, nonetheless.
The only sex ghost movie is School Spirit, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, no way, man. I think that would make a good sex ghost.
It would be a good
feature.
double feature. It would be a great double feature.
Yeah, sex ghosts.
This time, our perennial nerd Rudy is up the creek without a paddle. Taking a summer job at a marina, he faces his biggest challenge yet, the conquest of the sensational love goddess played by Playmate Shannon Tweed. I like this one. I like that fucking like there's a ghost that's trying to help this kid fucking lose his virginity.
She could just fuck him.
Yeah, she could. Well, she's
a ghost.
She's got a transparent vagina.
Who cares?
But the summer camp setting is like a staple of the genre. It provides the plot with plenty of characters and hijinks, and while the third entry of the series removes like the camp scenery, it's the only one that's got anything to do with the original. And the erections are strong with our virgin hero. And while the nudity and sex scenes are nothing to write home about, I'll be rewinding this one because I'm probably the only person that will rent it again.
Me too.
I think.
We're the only people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, man, just going over my list, these are not the best sex comedies of all time. Not at all. These are just ones that I would like. I'd love to do an episode on, but there's so many other things we got to do, and there's just a quick way to talk about some of the ones that may never get a full episode. Love Meatballs 3. I just like Meatballs in general. Like,
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a good franchise.
Yeah.
Number 4, though, Corey Feldman.
Oh, takes the
I was in
cake.
the Goonies. There's a cheese ball. There's Titty Patrol. It's got everything.
Yeah. You got him
water
doing his Michael
skiing.
Jackson moves. Oh yeah, I got the whole shebang. Very early 90s. Yeah.
So I think that went well for the first ever Employee Picks episode. Good job, guys.
I think
that
so.
was
Thanks for
great.
having us.
No, that's actually like a
Absolutely.
lot of fun. I can't wait to do a couple more of those, and we can like move the genre around. And,
Yeah, we have to do deceptive sex comedies at some point.
yeah, because like there's so many. You can do this all fucking day, man.
Seriously.
But so where can people find the VHS Bandits, and what do you guys got coming up next on your show?
Go ahead, go for it, Toe Man.
All right. Well, you can follow us on Instagram at VHS Bandits. We're on Twitter at the VHS Bandits, or you can email us at thevhsbandits@gmail.com. Instagram's probably the most prevalent place that we're at, but you can obviously listen to our podcast on anywhere podcasts can be downloaded. You're listening to one right now, so wherever you're listening to this, just search VHS Bandits, will pop up. And as you said, we've done many of the movies today. We did an episode on Meatballs 3, Summer Job. We did Loose Screws. We did School Spirit. And the most recent episode coming out a day before this episode is Summer Camp Nightmare. So we're in the middle of our summer fun series too. And that you'll find is much more of a teen sex comedy than a nightmare. So go listen to that episode and see how the nightmare turns into a teen sex comedy almost.
Oh man, thanks a lot, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Mike.
All right, so we at the Video Rangers podcast appreciate your continued patronage and hope you will join us again next week. Until next time, if you've seen a bad movie, we're ready to believe you.
Look at the way the sun makes them play. How can you leave them alone? They're on the sand with feline in hand, caressing the places unknown. Let me tell you, I know a place gonna put a smile on your face. They got the tan lines on the skin. Watch 'em rub it in, rub it in. Can you see the heart?
Infirmary Media. This is no ordinary sub shop. This is Firehouse Subs.
Welcome to Firehouse!
Tired of overpriced lunches that underdeliver on flavor? Head to Firehouse Subs, where for a limited time you can get a $4.99 choice sub. Choose from a medium smoked turkey, Virginia honey ham, or roast beef. They're custom-made hot subs at a price ready-made to make you smile. Just $4.99, only at Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Participating locations plus tax, limited time offer. Prices may vary for delivery.